I took a couple, I took some time off to rest, and now it's game time, bitches. You have no idea.
Hello. Welcome back to my channel. It's like weird to be back, genuinely. It's been 4 months? 5 months? February to March, March to April, April to May, May to June, June to July. 5 months since I filmed a YouTube video. Not entirely true. I have filmed another video. It's actually this exact video that I'm doing now, but I did it like 2 months ago. I don't really have an explanation on where I've been. I've just been working. So I do have videos planned. I think gotten into a decent groove of reading. Like, am I going to read 75 books like I set my Goodreads goal at? Probably not, but I have been reading a decent bit. I'm not mad at my reading, and I've also been buying a decent bit of books. I wouldn't say it's like a ton based on like this is going to be for the first 6 months of the year, but I thought it was a good reintroduction back. I think YouTube, I honestly have not watched a ton of it, but I know there is still an audience on here, and I still really do love making videos. I'm going to be doing more of these, hopefully YouTube videos. Not sure how consistent they're going to be. I do have like longer form, especially vlog type videos that I have, or a lot of like reading challenges or like updates on previous things that I've talked about on my channel that will be specifically on YouTube. But I have been doing a lot of, well, a lot is relative. I have been posting a decent bit on Instagram. I've been doing a series in which I've entitled A Road Trip Through Books, where I am going to different states and taking pictures with a book set in that state, and then kind of highlighting some local bookstores that I encounter along the way and things like that. That's just a spear for my other channels. I want to also make TikTok videos. I've made some in the past, but nothing super like big scale. But I think that TikTok can be, or any sort of short form video service can be a great way to just get quick reviews out or quick feelings out on books, especially since I'm not typically doing a wrap-up video. So look out for me on those. I'll link down all of my platforms down below for you guys to check out. But without further ado, I'm gonna get into this haul. It's a big one. I have like 24 physical books, and then I'll talk a little bit about some of the audiobooks and ebooks that I bought as well since January. But we're kind of just gonna speed through this. I should try to do this in order, but I'm not going to. So, wins. We're just gonna start with the first book I have on top here, One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I read this actually in July, the beginning of July or the end of June. I ended up giving this 4 stars. This is not a book review. I have updated all of my Goodreads reviews, so I'll link down Goodreads down below. You guys can check out my thoughts there. I also plan on maybe starting to upload book reviews onto either Instagram or TikTok. So once again, check those out down below. I do still plan on doing a like first year wrap up. I've only read like 26 or 27 books, so it shouldn't be too bad. But regardless, One Last Stop. I bought this at a local indie in Bethany Beach, Delaware. It was actually an autographed copy, which I'm super grateful for. Really excited. I'll link down the indie store down below. It's called Bethany Beach Books, I believe. This is just a sci-fi romance. Okay, it's kind of weird. It's like a sci-fi contemporary romance. It's about this character here trying to get this character off of a train or a subway train that they've kind of been stuck in a loop in. It's a sapphic romance, and it's really fun. And obviously this is the author of Red, White, and Royal Blue, one of my favorite books of all time. Next up, another book that I bought from an indie in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. This is from Browse About Books, and it is Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. I also read this. This is still like such a fun series. This is a graphic novel series about these 2 boys in love in their boarding school in England. Yeah, in the UK. And it's just been a lot of fun. This is the 3rd installment. I also have the other 2 installments that I've hauled or talked about in previous times. But this is really fun. I highly recommend this. I think everybody kind of knows about this book at this point, but figured I would show that I have it. Next up, another book that I bought at an indie. This was bought in Cape Charles, Virginia at Peach Street Books. This is The Woman in Cabin 10. This is by Ruth Ware. I also have some other Ruth Ware to haul in this book haul, which is kind of weird to say because I typically have not read a ton of adult mystery thrillers. But to be honest, I could not tell you much about this. I believe it's about a woman on a cruise ship that sees somebody go overboard, but no one really says anything about it. So I think this has like semi-decent reviews. I think at one point it was supposed to be made into a movie or a TV show, but I think this was years ago at this point. So I think I originally bought it because I thought it was going to be made into something, but I'm just not sure that's going to happen anymore. But regardless, I still wanted to read some Ruth Ware, and I have, like I said, another book to talk about from her. But mystery thriller, if you guys are interested. Let's just get all of my Sarah J Maas out of the way. I got A Court of Silver Flames, which I still have not read yet. I have the audiobook on hold in my library, and I keep renewing it because I'm just like, I don't know, like I care. Like this used to be, the A Court of Thorns and Roses series used to be my everything. Like I have vlogs for every single book that I read in that series. I'll link it up above or down below, but like I just haven't felt the need to pick this up like ever. So like maybe one day, I don't know, eventually I guess. And then also I got, I don't even know what books these are in the series, like 6 and 7 or something, I have no idea. Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash, which are like the last 2 books in the Throne of Glass series, which I still haven't read, and I'm pretty sure I have to read either this one or this one by the end of the year because I put it in, I think, my challenge video for like Pop Sugar, which I have been doing pretty well on otherwise, but I have to read one of those books, which would mean I have to read the rest of the series. So that's definitely going to be an interesting challenge for me, but I'll link up my Pop Sugar video, which will go over like kind of like some of my reading plans that I've had for this year. I've made some adjustments, but I think that's a pretty good guide. Let's do some other books that I have multiple, like from the same author or whatever. I also got Out of the Easy and The Fountains of Silence, both by Ruta Sepetys. I have read 2 of Ruta Sepetys books. I gave them both 5 stars. Like I'm really, like, I don't know if I really like historical fiction or I just like her historical fiction, but my grandmother actually bought these and read them and then she gave them to me. But this one takes place in 1920s Louisiana, maybe. At least I know it takes place obviously in the French Quarter, in New Orleans, Louisiana, but I'm not sure the time period. And then this I think is World War II. Yeah, maybe not even World War II. Maybe it's post World War II, but this is like her newest book. This came out, it's probably been a couple years now, honestly. It's probably came out in like 2019 or 2018, but it feels recent for me. Next up, 2 books in the same series I read ages ago. When I say ages ago, I mean, I think I was in probably 7th grade, which was 2011 or 2012. God, that's crazy. So what, like 10 years ago at this point? That's actually crazy. I don't want to say that out loud again. But that is the Uglies series. So I got Uglies from Browse About Books once again, and I got Pretties from a local indie in Chincoteague, Virginia. And I actually talked about this bookstore vaguely or briefly in my Instagram post that I made about Chincoteague and visiting Virginia. I won't spoil like what book I brought for like a book set in Virginia. I'll link down my Instagram once again for you guys to check out because it's really fun. I'm really proud of the project. But I bought this at that indie, which once again I have to, oh, it's called Sundial Books. It's called Sundial Books. I'll link down the indie down below in case any of you are in any of these areas. But really, I mean, I do plan on rereading these at some point. But I really just wanted to own them because I did really love this series. I think I only read like the first 2 or 3, but I think they did eventually come out with more. But I really did love it back in the day. I'm not sure if it will hold up, but worth owning to me. We can go with I completed a trilogy, in least physically owning. Like I never owned the 3rd book in this trilogy, and that is Only Human by Sylvain Nouvelle. This is a sci-fi series about kind of this big robot hand that they find in kind of underground or in the dirt in like this random place, and it's just kind of like everything that happens after they start messing around with this robot hand. It was really good. I really love this series. I read it probably back in like 2018 at this point, but I never owned the last book, so now I own it. So that is really great. I realized I never said what these were about, but this is like a dystopian, like an OG dystopian about this society where you like start off ugly, and then you either get, I don't remember if you either get like chosen to be made into a pretty, which is kind of just like the society's elite, or everybody gets made into pretties, but then there's like outcasts that like reject being turned pretty. Regardless, like when you turn 16 or something, you get like essentially plastic surgery, but like maybe more, like do they do something with your head to be made into like a pretty. So it's just like an OG dystopian. Like I think it's like an actually like a super old series, like not super old, but I think it's early, like late 2000s, like early 2010s maybe. I digress. Let's see what else in here. Have a random book that I picked up at a Barnes and Noble because I was trying to complete my series, or my collection for the series, and that is Unite Me by Tara Mafi, which is Destroy Me and Fracture Me, 2 novellas in the Shatter Me series. I've read both of these. I saw it in the store and I had a gift card, and I like knew that I wanted to own this at some point because I really love, I think it's Destroy Me is like a really great short story to me. So I wanted to own a physical copy. It was cheap. I want to support Barnes & Noble, but I don't want to pay always Barnes & Noble prices. So regardless, I bought this. I already read it, so it's just part of my collection now. Speaking of completing a collection, A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the 3rd book in the Cursebreakers trilogy, which has now actually gotten 4 new books that will like take place like after the ending of this series. I actually still haven't read this final book. I read the first 2 probably in 2019, and I just never got around to reading this. I believe it came out either the beginning of this year, the end of last year, yeah, something like that. It probably was like the beginning of last year actually, I don't recall, but regardless, I own this. I still need to read it. After I read it, I'll have kind of like completed a lot of Bridget, like almost all of Bridget Kemmerer's newer work, which is exciting for me. I still have a few of like her backlist that I haven't read, but I really love her. I actually just recently saw her or met her. I mean, I've met her before, but she was at a book signing at my actual local indie park books in Severna Park, Maryland, and I got like my book signed. But it was really great. I really love her. If you have not read her books, I would highly recommend them. The first book in the series is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, kind of like a portal fantasy sort of, because the main character is living in DC and she gets portaled to this fantasy land where she kind of lives out the plot, obviously, of Beauty and the Beast. But it's really great. I really love that series. Next up, a few other books that I have already read. I Have Lost My Way, which is a pretty, I read this book probably in like 2016 or 2017 at this point, but it's by Gail Forman. It was just like this story that was being told by 4 different perspectives. I believe they intersect, so it's like 4 different POVs, and then at the end you kind of see how they're all interrelated. I believe it takes place mostly in like New York City, so like it's kind of like a fun story. I don't remember like a ton about it at this point. I'm not honestly even sure why I bought this book, but I did, and I have read it, so it's not like a huge loss. But putting that out there if anybody's super interested in like those kind of stories, because they can be really fun. Song of Achilles, I finally read this. I give it 4 stars. I really did enjoy it. It's not like the end all be all for me. I don't like sad books, or like sad books, like traditionally books that like booktube or book twitter or book talk or whatever will traditionally label as like the end all be all of sad books. Like they don't really get to me. This was sad obviously, but like I didn't really care. It was so beautifully written, and I thought like the time and process that went into researching this book was just like astounding to me. So I gave it 4 stars. I really do enjoy it. I really do recommend it. It's just the stories of Achilles and Patroclus and kind of their relationship throughout time. I believe this book takes place over like the span of like 20 or 30 years, I don't know. And I did enjoy it, so I do recommend it. And then I read You Have a Match, which is Emma Lord's 2nd novel. I read Tweet Cute at the beginning, like the end of last year into the beginning of this year, and I love that book. I gave it 5 stars. It's probably one of my favorite books, maybe not of all time, but definitely of the year. And this was her 2nd book that was kind of coming out in the beginning of the year. I didn't really like this one that much. I know this isn't like a review. It's about these 2 girls that find out they are sisters, and they kind of go through some hijinks to kind of meet each other and get to know each other, and there's a lot of like drama that goes along with it. There is like a side romance. I wouldn't call this a YA contemporary romance. I would say it's more of a YA coming of age story. that also kind of has a romance, which I didn't particularly care for. I just wanted to read an Emma Lord book, and it wasn't anything like Tweet Cute, but I know a lot of people still love this. I think the pacing was also weird at some points. This is not a review. I would still recommend you read it if it sounds interesting to you. Anyway, I talked about before how I had another review book, The Death of Mrs Westaway, which I still have not read. I will read at some point, probably. But this is like about this story about this woman who gets a letter about coming to this house to claim her inheritance, but she knows that she has nothing to do with this family, but she goes anyway to kind of like scheme her way through it, and then like scary stuff happens. I think this is like, I think it's a thriller, it might also be paranormal, I don't really know, but it sounds really good. Books and Lala really loves it, so I figured I would give it a try. In similar vein, I also have 2 more mystery thrillers, and then 1 more that maybe you would consider a mystery thriller. Lock Every Door, Riley Sagar, who I figured out recently was a man, which like there's nothing wrong with being a man, okay, but like I thought Riley Sagar was a woman, and like I don't know if I've hauled any books so far that were written by men. Sylvain Nouveau, I think that literally might be it. So like I have nothing against men. I've heard very good things about this book, but I just did not really sounds so pretentious. Anyway, Lock Every Door is about this woman. She gets to be this house sitter in this super like mysterious and luxurious apartment, but then another house sitter that's also like for this apartment, or not this specific apartment, this apartment building, goes missing, and then it's kind of like the mystery thriller from there. I have very high hopes for that, even if it's written by a man. Anyway, Lisa Jewell, Watching You. Genuinely could not tell you a single thing about what this book is about. Melrose Heights is a home of doctors, lawyers, and old money academics. It's not the sort of place where people are murdered in their own kitchens, but it is the sort of place where everyone has a secret and prying eyes lurk behind every curtain. I don't know why about this. I guess like it just sounded intriguing. I probably got it for cheap. Maybe. I don't know. But like I said, I was kind of in like a mystery thriller buying kick for like a certain period of the year, and then I'd never read any of them. I guess this would be like Dark Academia, Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I also bought this at a local indie to New Haven, Connecticut. I showcased this once again in my Instagram. I bought this from Atticus bookshop in New Haven, Connecticut. Check them out, they were very nice. But this is like about this woman that goes to Yale, and she gets indoctrinated into a secret society. I actually don't even want to know much about this because I've just heard like such questionable things about it that I'm just gonna go into it blind for the most part when I do get to it. I'll probably do like a spooky Dark Academia reading vlog at some point. No promises, but that's my plan to read all those. Okay. Now we just have a random assortment of books. So An Enchantment of Ravens by Margot Rogerson. This is a fae story about this painter that paints emotions, about this human painter, or no, maybe she's not human. No, yeah, I think she's human. She paints like emotion in the fairy's eyes, which is like a big no-no, and she ends up getting taken, but like there's like something bigger, like a war that's happening, and she like gets pulled into it. Whatever, I've heard really good things about it. It's short, it's like a standalone, so I thought, you know, if I'm ever looking for a fae story, I could go there. For Everyone by Jason Reynolds. This is a super short collection of like poems, I guess, or just like short sort of, yeah, I guess I would say they're poems, not like essays or anything. And I read Jason Reynolds' American Boys, and I really loved that, so I wanted to give another book of his a chance. And then this is like the most beautiful thing ever, Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. I got this as a Christmas gift from my friend Taylor, and I just like, it's absolutely gorgeous. Like this like sparkle with like these edges, and then like this back. It is just the most gorgeous thing. I still have not read Anne and the French Kiss, but I do plan on reading it this year, just to give that series a try and see what it's like. Okay, we are down to the final 2. Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith. I'm just like obsessed with the idea of this. It's these 2 kids like win the lottery, and I don't know if like there's issues with them like splitting it, or just like issues with one of them becoming rich and the other like not, or like what that situation is. But I just think like that concept could be really fun if this is written well. It has semi-decent reviews. I remember like way back in the day, I think like Kate's Book Date like said she really liked this. Could be totally making that up, but I've always like thought about it, so I finally got a copy of it. And it's also like, once again, in this like weird like hard back, like there's no dust jacket, so like I don't know what's up with that. And then finally, another book that I got from Browse About Books in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. I go there probably too often. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I'm really excited to read this. It's a childhood best friends to enemies to lovers, I think. Yeah, childhood best friends to enemies to lovers, which I'm just so excited about. I read Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett like 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago at this point, and that book was like my everything. Like I was obsessed with the best friends to enemies to lovers, and I don't know obviously about this, but like with Starry Eyes it was best friends to lovers, or like something to enemies and then back to lovers. So I don't know if this is going to do something similar, but I'm just obsessed with that, because you have like history. Anyway, I'm really excited for this book. And with that, that is all of the books I have. Oh no, that's not true. That is so not true. I wanted to talk about quickly all of the books that I got from librofm. If you do not know what librofm is, it is a audiobook service that you can use and buy books, and the sales go to a local indie bookstore of your choice. I have mine support Browse About Books, but you can change it to whatever store that you want. I believe I could also change it at any time if I wanted to support like other bookstores with different purchases, but I wanted to briefly plug them. I have a link down below where if you sign up, you get your first book free and I get a free book. It's really, really cool. And I've been like super into supporting local indies at this point. Like, anyway, I digress. I got a few 6 books from them so far this year. So first comes like this is the like 3rd book in the it's the book that everybody makes fun of me for. I think it's the 3rd book in the Right Swipe series. It's just a romance that I honestly couldn't tell you much about. I still have not read it yet because I'm fake as hell, but I did like the first book sort of, so that was like the book that month that I thought I would get the most use out of. So I got that one. In February I got Milk Blood Heat by Dontel W. Moines. I couldn't tell you a single thing about it. I'm so shitty, but I did get that. So like if the cover looks interesting to you, you could check that out. I'm pretty sure it's short. Like I could totally be making that up though. In March I got Act Your Age by Eve Brown. I think that's the 3rd book. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the 3rd book. I haven't even read the first one, but I was like, eventually maybe I'll want the audiobook. So I got that audiobook in March. In April I got 1, 2, 3 by Lori Frankel. No idea. I'm pretty sure this is like a old lady beach read, but could totally be making that up as well. In May I actually got the One Last Stop audiobook, which I did use to read my physical book. I actually listened to the audiobook first and I bought a physical copy like while I was in the middle of reading it. So just for context there. And then in June, I'm not going to say what book I got in June because it's going to be for a future book haul, because I actually have a physical copy of the book now, and I really love it. So I'm going to save that one as like a little treat for the future. But that's it. That was what, like 30 books or something? It's pretty crazy. But hey, I'm doing okay. I'm glad to be presenting all these books to you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, like check out everything that I've linked below, like please. Between all my socials, between all the indie bookstores I talked about, between librofm. I feel really great to be back. Leave down any video suggestions you have down below, or like any comments you have whatsoever. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you soon, and yeah, see you guys. Bye.